friends, position of the karta regarding income. In my last lecture, I explained few points about the karta. Now I am explaining the extended part of that lecture only. Position of the karta regarding income. The manager, as the head of the family, has control over the income and expenditure, and he is the custodian of the surplus, if any. Besides the expenses of management, realization, and protection of the family estate, the family purposes are ordinarily maintenance, residence, education, marriage, shraddha, and religious ceremonies of the co-partner and their families, as per the judgment Kameshwara Sastri versus Viracharlu. The expenses of each co-partner or his branch cannot in law, in the absence of usage, be debited to the particular co-partner. If he spends more than the other members approve, their remedy is to demand a partition. So long as the manager of the joint family administers the funds for the purpose of the family, he is not under the same obligation to economize or to save as would be the case with the agent or trustee. On the other hand, he is liable to make good to them their shares of all sums which he has misappropriated or which he has spent for purposes other than those in which the joint family was interested. Next, position of karta regarding debts. As karta deals with all the situations in the family, he can acknowledge liability to pay debts due and payable by the family, to give discharge for debt, to pay interest on money borrowed, etc., due to payable by the family, as per the Annamalai Chettiar versus Virappa Chettiar judgment delivered in 1956 by Supreme Court, where the manager borrows money to save the family property and to remove the fear of disturbance likely to be caused in the family business. The existence of necessity may be presumed where there is nothing to show that the lender acted otherwise than in good faith. A creditor advancing money to the manager must satisfy himself that the money was required for family purposes. The necessity for a manager to borrow money confers upon him authority to borrow upon reasonable commercial term. Father or karta of joint Hindu family may sell or mortgage the joint family property, including son's interest there, and to discharge a debt contracted by him for his own personal benefit, and such alienation binds the sons provided debt was antecedent to the alienation and it was not incurred for an immoral purpose. Debt, whatever borrowed by the karta, should be for a commercial purpose or for the welfare of the family or for some benefit of the family. It should not for the immoral purpose. And karta has power to sell or mortgage joint Hindu family property, and he can, in the need, in the situation, in the need, he can sell his son's interest also. Position regarding accounts. In the absence of any proof of misappropriation or fraudulent and improper conversion by the manager of a joint family estate, he is liable to account on partition only for assets which he has received, not for what he ought or might have received if the family money had been profitably dealt with. So, as per this judgment, Lakshmi Narayan versus Dinkar, Nagpur High Court, the fundamental principle is that where joint family property is sold in execution of a decree though obtained against the father alone, and for a debt contracted by him for his own personal benefit, the sons cannot claim to recover their shares of property unless they show that the debt was contracted by the father to the knowledge of the lender for an immoral or illegal purpose, and that the purchaser had noticed that it was so contracted. Only in that situation, sons can claim. Position regarding business. Position of Karta regarding business. Karta can also enter into partnership with any other person when the family itself is carrying on any ancestral business. The manager, the Karta, can make contracts, give receipts, and compromise or discharge claims incidental to the business, can mortgage or sell the family property for a legitimate purpose. Overall, if we see, Karta can borrow, Karta can sell, but every act should be in a periphery of legality and for the some good cause or for the benefit of the family. It should not be immoral, it should not for some wrong reason. Immovable, Karta's power on the immovable property. If the family has immovable property or properties, he has the power to manage the same by recovering rents, paying expenses by way of taxes, maintenance, and carrying out repairs. When Karta is taking care of each and everything, so he has right on all those properties also. The Karta can bring a suit for recovery of the joint family members. The consent of the son is not necessary for the exercise of that power. The right of the father to sever himself and the son's inter se being part of the patria potestas that was recognized by the Hindu law. So this is Karta's position. Karta has power as per the Hindu law also to take all these decisions by which way he has to pay taxes, by recovering rents, or by anyhow managing the money to pay day-to-day expenditure, family, other expenses. Karta has power to take all such decisions regarding the immovable properties. Partition, the power of the father of a joint family to divide family property at any time during his life, provided he gives his sons equal share with himself, is well established. It's very normal. Father of a joint family, of course, when he divides property during his lifetime and he gives equal shares to his sons. If the partition is unequal and unfair, it is open to the sons, if they are majors, to repudiate the partition, but in case they are minors, they can take action only when they become majors. If in case, as per using his discretionary power, if Karta do the unequal division of the property between his sons, so if they are minor, they can't take any action that time. But if they are major, they are free to take action or they are free to go for the remedy. As per the judgment, Venkat Subramania Iyer versus PN Iswara Iyer. Alienation. Karta or manager can alienate the co-personal property by sale or mortgage for legal necessity or benefit of the state or otherwise. अगर कर्ता को लगता है कि उसकी सिचुएशन, उसके फैमिली की सिचुएशन इज नॉट गुड और फाइनेंशियली क्राइसिस है, तो कर्ता हैज पावर, कर्ता कैन एलिनेट द co-personal property by sale or mortgage for the legal necessity. Any alienation made subsequent to the relinquishment of the office will not bind the other co-partner. As per the judgment, Abdul Basit Sahib versus Shanmuga Sundaram. But an alienation by the manager for no family purpose or necessity and made without the assent of the other is a void. But if Karta take this action not for family purpose but for some other purpose and not as per the necessity, then it will be void and the subsequent ratification by the other members cannot validate it. It will not validate. It will not be validated by anyone else, and it will be void only if this decision is not for the benefit of the family or the welfare of the family. The karta is not required to obtain the consent of the other co-partners for alienation, and if the alienation is for legal necessity, it will bind the other co-partner. If it is for the legal necessity, as I told you, it will bind other co-partners also. But if it is not for that, then not. When a junior member is allowed to deal with family properties as if he was the manager, any alienation by him for family necessity is binding on all the members of the family, including the real manager. This is a very important point to note. Where the joint family property is alienated by the karta, but the legal necessity is not proved, still the sale is binding on the undivided share of the karta. However, if legal necessity is proved, mere inadequacy of consideration is no ground for setting aside the sale by the manager. Where a party to a contract, in that Jwala Singh versus Lakshman Das, as per this judgment, where a party to a contract is unable to perform the whole of his part of it, and the part which must be left unperformed forms a considerable portion of the whole or does not admit to compensation in money, he is not entitled to obtain a decree for a specific performance. But the court may, at the suit of the other party, direct the party in default to perform specifically so much of his part of the contract as he can perform, provided that the plaintiff relinquishes all claims to further performance and all right to compensation either for the deficiency or for the loss or damage sustained by him, though the default of the defendant. As per the case Dharam Singh versus Sadhu Singh, in this case, the backbone of this case was to determine the controversy about the nature of the property, which has been cogently proved to be non-ancestral, self-acquired in the hands of Sadhu Singh. The plaintiffs are the sons, grandson, granddaughter, and widow of the deceased son of Sadhu Singh. They could succeed in the suit only on establishing that Sadhu Singh got the property from his father Sundar Singh and grandfather Chanda Singh, and that he hold the property without legal necessity. Since the onus has not been discharged by the plaintiffs successfully, the court didn't find any illegality in findings of the first appellate court when it tightly dismissed the appeal of the plaintiff appellants. It can be, however, said to be beneficial to a Hindu joint family for the manager to purchase property for which the family is unable to pay. Alienation by managing member cannot be said to be for legal necessity if the legal remedy to recover the debt has become time barred. The full bench in this judgment, Japuram versus Bahoran Singh and others, the full bench came to the conclusion that such a debt, although the remedy to recover it was barred, still existed as a debt and was therefore an antecedent debt in lieu of which a father could alienate the property. The case of a mere manager of a Hindu family is, however, different. He has no power to alienate the property in lieu of any antecedent debt of his own. An alienation by a managing member can only be upheld if the transfer for legal necessity or for the benefit of the family. Gifts, very common term. It is incompetent for a father to make a gift of immovable property to a daughter if the gift is of reasonable extent, having regard to the properties held by the family, because a Hindu father is under legal obligation to make a gift of reasonable portion of the family property as a provision to his daughter on the occasion of their marriages. Gifts of co-paternity immovable. There are other judgments also regarding the gift. However, a similar gift from a husband to his wife or a father-in-law to his daughter-in-law cannot be set for pious purposes. The father has the power of making within reasonable limits gift of ancestral movable property without the consent of his sons for the purpose of performing indispensable acts of duty and for purposes prescribed by text of law as gifts through affection, support of family, relief from distress, and so forth. A gift of affection may be made to a wife, a daughter, and even to a son. We have many case laws on gift to Hindu undivided family, property explaining different conditions, like an alimentary proposition as per the judgment CGT versus Hanumat Thappa. Alimentary proposition that Karta of Hindu undivided family cannot gift or alienate property except to the extent recognized under the Hindu law. As per the another judgment CGT versus BV Narasimha Raju, reasonable limits depends upon the facts. What are the facts of that family or that matter? There should be a reasonable limit of gifting. Karta can make reasonable gifts to daughter. There is Karta can gift his daughter reasonably as per the judgment Sushil Kumar and Sons versus ITO. Karta is not denied to gift but in a reasonable amount. Gift on marriage occasion is valid if Karta is giving any gift on the marriage of his daughter, that is valid. As Lakshmanamma, as Lakshmamma versus Kotya, gift of immovable property should be for pious purpose. Very important. Gift of the immovable property should be for the pious purpose, because in our law it is written that gift should be for the pious purpose. As I told you earlier also, it should be within this category as per the judgment CIT versus Ram Gopal Rajgadia. And the last, as per the judgment Gurumma versus Malappa, gift to strangers is void. As per law, it's not acceptable gift to the strangers. It comes in the category of the void. Woman as a karta, the very important topic of our karta. Women as a karta. A major step towards ending gender discrimination and to stop the gender bias prevalent in families and to improve adverse condition of women in society has been taken in form of Hindu Succession Amendment Act 2005. This amendment has conferred equal property right on daughters as well. Now the daughters by birth will acquire rights over co-paternity property. So my friends, I will take this topic in my next lecture. Thank you so much.